Hi everyone, delonewolf here and welcome to a discussion video on the latest dev blog, and it's a pretty big one. It's also one that I've been waiting for quite a while, so I look forward to everything that's in this dev blog. It's pretty damn cool. Mining Foreman Revolution is the name that they gave it, and it's so big that they had to go into different sections. So we have mining foreman ship progression, the 3 pillars of mining foreman gameplay, mining foreman burst details, drone revisit, mining drones revisited, the porpoise, the Orca, the Rorqual, other ore ship changes, and a bit of a conclusion. So let's take a look here. First part here is just talking a little bit about the design decisions that are behind everything that they're doing with the changes to the mining foreman ships and to mining in general, because it's definitely a major overhaul of mining in EVE Online. And basically they're going with 4 tiers that are just going to become stronger and stronger as you get into the next tier. So first of all, the purpose or porpoise, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, is going to be a battle cruiser sized hull that is going to have the same roles as an Orca or a Rorqual, so to boost the fleet and to do mining as well, which is actually new for the Orca and the Rorqual. The Orca will be the next step up, so better yield, better boosting capabilities, better support capabilities, better defense capabilities as well. Next up, we've got a Rorqual without industrial core active, and then finally a Rorqual with an active industrial core. That's basically going to be the top of the line, the best stuff that you can get. I think a really important part here is that the Rorqual, of course, is nullsec only. It's a 3 billion ISK ship, so that does mean that there's quite a little bit of risk involved to using the best possible ship in the game when it comes to the mining foreman ships. On the other hand, alliances that do have a very strong hold on their region will be able to, of course, take full advantage of the capabilities of the Rorqual. So something that's a little bit new is the 3 pillars of mining foreman gameplay. A lot of this, I think, has been discussed with the CSM, and I'm very happy to see what they're going for here. So a mining foreman should help fleet mates mine more effectively. That's obviously going to be the boost mechanics. Defend the mining operation. The biggest change here is that especially the Orca and the Rorqual will be able to dish out quite a little bit of damage with heavily boosted drone damage. And finally should also contribute with powerful mining drones, which is basically completely new. I mean, you could probably do a little bit of mining in the Orca in mining drones, but it really wasn't worth your time. And so everyone used Orcas and Rorquals as off-grid boosters, which of course that is going away. You'll have to be on-grid to boost, and so in return you get better defensive capabilities and you actually get a decent yield out of your ships, which to me is exactly what I wanted. So that's the boosting, defending the mining operation. Basically it's going to be 2 things. You'll be able to do a decent amount of damage with drones, and you will have some very specific boosts, bonuses yourself to shield tanking. So overall this should help with a mining operation. Granted, in high sec, I mean, if they want to gank you, they're gonna gank you. It's not gonna make that big of a difference, but I guess that they want to make it a bit more dangerous to go after a mining operation with a foreman in it, in null sec, in low sec. Basically they don't want a 2-man gang to be able to completely shut down a mining operation. If you've got a Rorqual there, you actually have something that can bite back and that could take on a couple of ships. And then of course contribute with powerful mining drones. That is pretty interesting in my book, since I just lost my greedy Machina, that was going for full yield. Now it looks like I'll actually be able to replace that in high sec with my Orca. So for the burst details, I don't think that there is too much to say, except that all of these charges which are needed, like munitions for the new booster modules, are made with isogen, titanium, and then have isotopes in them as well. Heavy water, nitrogen, helium isotopes. And for the mining ones, it's only heavy water, titanium, and isogen, which of course is going to have a pretty big impact on the market right now, but overall it should be pretty cheap to keep boosts going for a long time. There's also a little video about boosting, but I'm sure if you've seen the mass test, you've seen all you need to know about that. The idea, as we know, of the boosting mechanics is that you have to be on grid, and within a certain area around your ship you're giving active boosts for around 1 minute to everyone in your fleet, and after that, of course, you get to repeat the cycle by using up the ammo. So you get all the details on all the numbers, with all the skills necessary and all of that good stuff. I'm not going to go into those details. It would just take us too much time. The part that I like the most personally, this is for me, because, well, I don't have a huge corporation, so it's mostly going to be me on my own, but I'm hoping to maybe be able to open up a fleet later on in Dital and provide mining boosts to people that want to mine together with me. And of course, what do I need in order to be able to do that, in order to be able to justify bringing an Orca into a mining belt? It's the ability to mine with that chip, and they're going to do that through the mining drones. So all of these mining support vessels are going to be using drones, not strip miners and not miners in the high slots, which is of course normal because they want you to have boosting modules in there. So they are going to add new skills, a couple of new skills for the mining drones. So we'll have something like mining drone specialization, which will be needed for like the Tech 2 drones after a while, and of course are going to increase the capacity of some of the drones. The biggest change is that there will also be an ice harvester drone operation and an ice harvester drone specialization, and so there will actually be drones that will be able to mine ice, which is pretty cool, because that means that you can also justify bringing an Orca or a Rorqual in an ice belt, and you'll be able to actively participate in the mining operations. The newest one, of course, is going to be this excavator mining super drone, which is unfortunately limited to the Rorqual only, but it was sort of what I was expecting. So let's quickly go over this. The mining drone 1 will receive a 25% buff in order to shrink the gap between Tech 1 and Tech 2. Tech 2 mining drone will remain unchanged largely in November, as it represents the current baseline for drone mining. In a future release, we'll be adding mining drone specialization to the requirements, but we'll be giving some time for capsuleers to train the skill. Then we'll also get the rare harvester mining drone. It will be receiving some buffs to position it as an expensive but useful faction version of the normal mining drone. It will keep very low skill requirements and gain buffs to speed, remaining slower than Tech 1 mining drones but faster than today, hit points and mining yields. We will also be reintroducing a new way of obtaining these drones so that the supply can begin to increase. We're adding a new set of augmented mining drones. Like the existing augmented combat drones, these will be special rogue drone versions of the drones that are both faction and Tech 2. They will be manufactured using blueprints and components looted by rogue drones. They will require the drone specialization skill. The base stats of the augmented drones will also be very powerful, going about 9% more, gaining around 9% more than the Tech 2 mining drones. And then the excavator super mining drone is the ultimate culmination, because Orr done some illegal, well, sort of illegal or secretive research into rogue drones, and they can only be used in the Rorqual class ships by themselves. An excavator super drone will make the Rorqual the most powerful mining ship in the game, and when boosted by an active industrial core, they each individually gain the yield of an exhumer. That is pretty crazy. This is of course going to mean that risking an Rorqual is actually going to get you a big payback, because you'll be able to use these super excavator mining drones. And of course we'll also have the ice mining drones will come in Tech 1, Tech 2, augmented and excavator versions to bring everything in line. So I'm guessing that when this is first launched, I'll just start out with my Orca with my Tech 2 drones. Then as the price of augmented drones will hopefully drop decently quickly, the best thing that you'll be able to go for in HiSec is probably going to be an Orca with augmented mining drones and then fully fit for yield. Keep one thing in mind. The Orca will not outperform a fully boosted Hulk or anything like that. So the numbers that we have are a little bit lower, but you can say that an Orca will be in line with a Tech 2 mining barge, but it's not like it's going to be better than all of them, and that after that you go for the Rorqual. So the Orca is just basically in line with other mining ships, but of course you've got the bigger bay and you've got the boost going. It's not meant to become the only mining ship in high sec. I think that's pretty important. Mining foreman ships, then we've got the Porpoise, which you can see a picture here based on the model of goddamn, me and names doesn't work too well, but it's a salvage ship, and it's also used for PI in a different version, but it's basically going to be a battle cruiser that will have the same capabilities, albeit much weaker than an Orca, providing you with an affordable boosting option in case you don't want to risk an Orca or a Rorqual in dangerous space, for instance. I still think that most people will just jump straight to the Orca for high sec, but in low and null sec, especially for smaller groups, I can actually see this get used quite a little bit. So on all of these, that something that because it's such a big dev block, you actually also have individual feedback threads for every ship, which is pretty cool. So if you have any feedback, make sure to let CCP know. Here is where my personal interest lies, the Orca. So you get all the individual stats if you want to. I'm not going to go over all of these, but I think at the end, doesn't it give us a bit of an idea? Here we go. Costs around 700 million ISK. Couldn't tell you what mine cost anymore. I think I even made it myself. Maximum yield 1400 cubic meters per minute with drone travel, because it's only using drones. This cannot be increased by your active boosts. So the mining boosts work for strip miners and normal miners, and will not give you a boost on your own drones. And so basically the yield of the Orca is going to be a bit of a base yield to compare everything else to. Max DPS though, 800 DPS, definitely not bad. And 1400 cubic meters per minute. Let's see, I thought it was like 3500 for a Machina. The Machina that I was using was the bay, maybe 25 minutes to fill that, which means that over 20 minutes we'll have 28,000. Add another 700. It's a little bit less, I think, than a greedy non-boosted Machina, but honestly I'm already very happy with that. You're pretty close to a Machina, and of course you get that huge bay. The way I'm seeing me use the Orca here is open up a fleet. If anyone wants to, they can come to me and get the boost. Start off at one end of a belt, just start mining your way through, slowly going from one end to the belt to the next one. Fill up my Orca, which of course I'll need to go back to the boss or the Citadel much less than in the Machina, and overall I think that you will have a ship that will perform, even for a solo player, about as good as a Machina, but of course with the much added benefit of having way more HP, in exchange of course for a bigger cost as well. But that's what I'm foreseeing for the Orca. It's gonna be probably the best solo miner in high sec. And of course, if you're actually in an organized fleet, in an organized corporation, you are going to want to have like an Orca in every belt, supported by max fit hulks in order to get even more yield. That's going to be probably the most efficient way to mine in high sec then. Finally, we've got the Rorqual here as well. The biggest thing is, of course, do you want to risk the industrial core or not? The industrial core is going to basically work like a siege module, which is it? Let's see here. Yeah, like a siege module, so you won't be able to just warp out or anything like that. Cost 2.3 billion is aimed at. Max yield 3000 cubic meters per minute with drone travel without the industrial core. That's about twice the Orca. yeah, about twice the Orca, probably around twice a Solo Machina. It is still less than an unboosted Hulk though. So a max boosted, a max fit, max boosted Hulk is still going to outperform a non-industrial core Rorqual. So that gives you a little bit of an idea what we're looking at. But of course, if you do go with the industrial core, they get 500% bonus, those new drones, which puts it at 18,400 cubic meters per minute, which is of course pretty damn crazy. And this is maybe the one worry that I think is understandable. What is the impact going to be of the potentially much higher yields in the game from nullsec to the mineral markets? People like me that were expecting an increase in price just due to more activity. This of course comes as a little bit of a surprise that we get such a big boost in potential mining yield. 18,400 cubic meters per minute is absolutely huge, especially coming from a single ship. On the other hand, they had to do something for the Rorqual. Making it the best mining ship means that, well, it's risk versus reward. It has to be nullsec. You have to use the industrial core, so you have to basically put yourself at risk out there for a certain amount of time. And I think it's a worthy trade-off. I also think that if it gets out of hand completely, that there are CCP could intervene. That's one. Number two, an economy like EVE Online Sandbox economy tends to ride itself as well a little bit. If too many people use a Rorqual, then the price is going to crash so much that it's just not going to be worth it to risk the Rorqual anymore. And so eventually I think the game has it in itself to balance this out. And of course I look forward to some Rorqual kill mails myself, or some Rorqual combat videos too. A lot of people were saying, man, this is pretty crazy because you can also tank this really well. It can have a lot of DPS and it's dangerous. It also has reduced fatigue, so this is becoming too powerful. I would say about that, keep one thing in mind, is that you will always need to fit for these specific things that you want to fit for. If you want to fit for max tank, you're probably not going to be able to fit for max DPS. If you want to fit for max mining yield, you're probably going to be a bit more thin than in other situations. So overall, considering the cost of a Rorqual, considering where it is now when it comes to usability, and without the off-grid boost, I mean, it's just completely gone from usefulness. I think it's worth it to make it the best chip by a very large margin, and see how people are willing to risk this awesome asset in the game. At the moment, of course, Rorquals are almost never destroyed because they sit just outside of a boss shield, giving off-grid boosts. So honestly, yes, it's a lot. I understand the worry. I share it a little bit, but I actually think that it's going to be okay. And of course, then another extra thing that the Rorqual will have is a panic button that is going to make fleet members, not the Rorqual itself, invulnerable between 5 and 7.5 minutes, which people are hoping that it's going to give, or CCP is hoping that it's going to give those fleets the time to ask for help, basically, when they are in danger. A lot of people actually think it's not going to work out all that well. 5 to 7 minutes doesn't tend to be enough to form up a sizable fleet, and with the capabilities of the Rorqual, it's to be expected that it's gonna be a pretty big hot drop that's going to come in when people are going after a mining operation with a Rorqual in it. But very interesting stuff in my opinion, and it could make mining in nullsec quite a bit more interesting, potentially much more rewarding than in highsec, but at a decently risky trade-off as well. Other ore changes, I don't think I actually read through that. In addition to all these new ships, drones, functionality, Ore has a few other announcements. As a follow-up on their recent revamp, he's happy to announce The unpackaged volume of hulks and covers will be dropping by 25%, making them easier to haul. The bowhead or freighter will also receive some improvements, reducing mass, which is meant for more usability for wormhole people. 23% more capacity for the bowhead ship maintenance bay. I have a bowhead. Pretty good to see this this getting a bit of a buff, but this is also basically the CSM asking for useful changes in the game and CCP responding positively. So yeah, overall guys, it's definitely not an exaggerated title in my opinion. Mining Foreman Revolution, pretty big changes, and it was pretty much exactly what I was hoping for the Orca, especially after I lost my Machina. I was like, am I going to replace it? I should really wait for this dev blog, because I'm hoping, I'm praying that they're going to give the Orca an actual mining capability, and that just came through. I was willing to settle for an Orca that's capable of mining at retriever level of yields, but it looks like it's actually going to be able to compete with the Machina. So I'm very happy with all of this, and I look forward to the November release even more. Anyways, that's what I wanted to share with you guys. Pretty big dev blog, but if you're mining, definitely worth a read. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.